Hello, this is Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun, and I want to talk about the tragic death of director Tony Scott by apparent suicide. And Tony Scott, not necessarily one of my favorite directors, but he was a director that you could always count on to do something interesting. Not all of his films were great or classics, but his best films were always ones that did something unique or interesting or went to different places. He was a director that wasn't afraid to do material that was a little outrageous or a little outlandish, or to do things with material that was not typical. He was a Hollywood director, studio director who took chances and did different things. Probably the best example of that is the movie Domino, which has such a bizarre visual style that he kind of created himself, experimenting in commercials, and it's a little abrasive, it's a little in your face, but it suits the material, which in itself is very weird and strange and peculiar, and it was really a perfect mashup of form with content. And I think that is just an example of what Tony Scott had the potential to do as a director. Similarly, he directed one of Quentin Tarantino's earliest screenplays, True Romance, and that was a film that was very idiosyncratic and very different, and that was a good example of form and content slamming together in a way that was really interesting. And he did other films that were more traditional, but he did them very well, like Crimson Tide or Enemy of the State. And then there's always the guilty pleasure fun of something like Top Gun. Even in his films that weren't necessarily great films, he was always able to get great performances from his actors. Good example of that is The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which doesn't have a patch on the original from 1974, but it does have some really interesting performances from Denzel Washington, which Tony Scott worked with several times, and John Travolta playing a villain performance, and it was one of the films that kind of brought him back. John Travolta's career always has little ebbs and flows, and that was a performance that reminded you how good John Travolta could be. Wasn't a great film, but Tony Scott was a filmmaker who could bring the best out of actors, and I'm definitely going to miss having him around, because when you saw Tony Scott's name on a film, you knew that at the very least you would see something that wasn't just a cookie-cutter film, that wasn't just an assembly line Hollywood film. There would be something in there that was worthy, something that you could really sink your teeth into. So rest in peace, Tony Scott. This is Alec, and keep watching.